Ferrall.
Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Wow, I was surprised, Carver High, that your Bills threw the game on Friday night. That was ugly.
Yeah, I mean, look, these are the warnings of playing these preseason games. Sometimes, teams do not care. They don't care what they do out there, who's playing, what they're calling. And you saw a lot of that with the Bills Friday night in Carolina, a 21-0 loss. But all of the talk this weekend in Buffalo, of course, Scotty, was how they were going to handle the situation with their rookie punter, Matt Araiza, after the gang rape allegations that we talked about on Friday. So they did end up releasing him on Saturday. They let him go. Now, this is McDermott Friday night after the loss to Carolina. This is when, they didn't let him play. The news really started to churn out there. You could tell McDermott not a happy camper, Scotty, talking about the situation.
It's not a situation we take lightly. I'm hurt. I understand they're hurt. And it's emotional. It's not easy to hear about some of the things that I've heard about over the last several hours, say, and haven't slept a lot, to be honest with you, because this is a game, but there's other things that are more important than this. It's just a matter of trying to find the truth at the end of the day, right? That's the goal, is find the truth and do the right thing. And that's what I keep coming back to in my mind and my heart, is find out the truth to the best of my ability and do the right thing.
Well, I understand why they got rid of him, but if they're so interested in the truth, then why did they get rid of him so quickly? If they were so interested in the truth, the attorneys on both sides, this thing is far from over. We have no clue what's going to happen. You have the accusations of a lawyer and the girl, and then you have the denials on the other side from the punter and the attorney, and that nothing has been really told about what's happened, other than that there was a alleged gang rape at San Diego State and that he was involved in it with two other players, and they've named those two other players, by the way. But all I'm saying is, if they care about the truth so much, you cannot go out and go on record talking about how you want the truth when you're talking about someone's existence and future. They drafted the kid and they gave up on him in 5 seconds because the media and the fans in Buffalo persecuted him and found him guilty immediately. Guilty as charged, and off to jail you go. So that's not the way the world works. That's not the way it works. If it's so much trouble, then why did he never get arrested? Why has he never been charged? Why has none of that happened? Explain that to me, because I think McDermott sounded like a fool right there.
Well, I'll explain it to you as best as I think you can. Because he's a punter and he's not worth the trouble. Let's just say it like it is. He's a punter. He doesn't matter. This is a sticky situation, which, you're right, the true facts of it have not come out yet. But the amount of static and heat that they're getting for keeping the guy on the team isn't worth having a rookie punter. Now, we've already seen in the last year, when the static and the heat is on a star quarterback, you're going to keep him around until you find the light at the end of the tunnel and find out what's going on. When you're a punter and you're getting this kind of... Well, they're never going to say that. We know that.
But he acted like they're looking for. Yeah. They acted like they're doing some kind of investigation and they're looking for the truth and they want to find out what happened. And he's having sleepless nights. No, he isn't. They cut him.
No.
Friday. Bye. You're done. They should have just said that. We're not having it. We want nothing to do with him.
Right. Listen. The organization, as Tim Graham was telling you on Friday, allegedly knew about this in the last week of July. Did that get to Bean and McDermott? I find it very difficult that it didn't. I find it very hard to believe that the organization was let known about this potential situation a month ago, and the head coach and the general manager just found out in the last 3 or 4 days. I think that's very hard to believe.
Or they knew and did nothing about it because they didn't believe that he was going to get nailed.
Well, yeah, or they thought it would never come into light, or just blow over, or just not happen. Nothing. Maybe they didn't think they'd file a civil lawsuit. Maybe they knew about it and said, maybe this is just going to go away and we'll never see the light of day. It did come out.
Do you think he'll get charged? We welcome all of our radio affiliates, Sirius XM, Sports Map, Sports Byline to Coast. We're talking about a raise to the punter of the Bills that got cut. He's been accused of rape. Do you think that he'll be arrested and charged in this gang rape and go to jail, or do you think he's going to get, bottom line, away with it?
I don't know. I don't think that that's something that any of us can really tell. We've read the report of what's in the civil lawsuit. We've read all the really awful details that are in that. If that stuff is true, he should go to jail. But I don't think we're gonna know for a long time how this plays out, Scotty. I don't know. Everybody's cutting guys today. They'll get a punter. I saw the Titans cut that guy Kern, who's been with them for 10 years. He's a decent. They're gonna get a punter. They barely punted last year. I'm hoping that they're not gonna punt this year. So whoever they got, they'll be able to get through the end of it. They never punted last year. I mean, they moved the football. All right, we'll come back and we'll give you more.
There's college teams that do that. They never punt ever.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
You might be the next daily fantasy millionaire. No matter what you watch or where you play, learn from the world's best DFS players. Lineup building tools, expert projections, and advanced stats change the way you play the game. Dominate the competition. DailyRoto.com, the player's choice.
The morning after.
Scott Frost in 4 seasons, just 6-17 against his divisional opponents. If they are going to win a Big Ten West title, if this is finally the year the offseason hype meets regular season results, it will happen through that division.
Ultimately, it's going to come down to beating teams like Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin, and I'm not quite there yet. We'll see how it unfolds, but Nebraska's struggled with all 3 of those programs.
The Sports Grid Network. The Early Line.
I think the Guardians are starting to command not just respect in terms of the central race, but they really should be in the American League overall.
They probably figure, Kevin, let's just play 500 baseball the rest of the way. I don't think the Twins and the White Sox are good enough to put that into overdrive and overtake us at this point. So it's not one of those where, hey, look at our final schedule. We got 30 games left. We really need to go 20-10 to make the playoffs. They don't. Here you go. The Cleveland Guardians moving on in the playoffs.
Only on Sports Grid. Ferrall, Coast to Coast.
Justin Fields, making his first ever start in the NFL, got sacked 9 times. Right. And Matt Nagy didn't bother letting his running backs, chip blockers or take on pass rush responsibilities. And that is so irresponsible. You're going to see a lot of this coaching staff, hopefully, trying to use the traits of his that are special. And I think Fields will benefit from having a coaching staff that's a little smarter about how they use him.
The Sports Grid Network.
Sports Professor Rick Horowitz on the $1.3 trillion business of sports with your Sports News Minute. I couldn't wait for this, and I can't wait for a Christmas present. Everybody, listen. About Golf has created a somewhat affordable golf simulator to put in individual homes, starting at about 46 to 48 grand. The curved simulators that have a little more in them, about 69 grand. They have 50 different locations, including St. Andrews. And the new ambassador, Justin Herbert, avid golfer, puts on a celebrity golf tournament every year in Eugene, Oregon to raise dollars for his kids' charity. Now he has an opportunity to hawk these simulators all over the country. And the bottom line is first time that a company has created what might be an affordable simulator. Yeah, you got to have the room, you got to have the dough. But this is an example of golf's popularity sweeping across the country.
Wow, and it wasn't just the Steelers that had guys dropping like Johnson and Watt. The Panthers had guys dropping too, Carver High.
They certainly did. Sam Darnold, who's going to be the backup quarterback, well, he won't be for 4 to 6 weeks. He got carted off with an ankle injury, Scotty, and never good to lose your kicker in the last preseason game either. Zane Gonzalez carted off the field on Friday night for Carolina. So they took a toll in that 21-0
They
win
lost
over
Castle
the Bills
too, or the kid Corral
Yes.
from Ole Miss. He's done for
Corral
the year.
week before that lost him with the foot, and he's finished. So we know it's Baker Mayfield time. Not going to be much behind him except the immortal P.J. Walker, who's now the main backup down there in Carolina. All right, the Cowboys beat the Seahawks 27-26. Who cares about that? I think it was Thursday or Friday, Scotty. We were sitting here on Coast to Coast, and I played you a clip of Pete Carroll telling you about how he's got 2 weeks to decide the quarterback. Drew Lock hasn't had a fair shake because he had the Honda. I think I have 2 number 1 quarterbacks. Both guys might play. Drew Lock goes out Friday night and throws 3 interceptions against the Cowboys. And suddenly, Pete Carroll has changed his tune. Here he was after the game.
Gino was solid in his outing, and Gino's going to start. He's going to start the opener, and he's earned it. He's won the job with the time and the time frames that got messed up for us for Drew. He just ran out of time in making his bid for it, and so I'm clear about that. So I just want to let you know, so everybody knows, and so you don't have to ask about it anymore.
Yeah, no one will ask about it because both of them are so awful that they're going to have a quarterback problem the whole season. I don't care what anybody says. Gino is no starter. And we've already seen that display for years, and it's just not happening. They're going to be a disaster.
It's just amazing. 3 minutes after the game, the guy goes out on the podium and throws him to the wolves after saying he's going to take the next 2 weeks and figure it out. And let me tell you, whenever this Jimmy G thing does happen, and I mean him getting released at some point, if he wants to play every single game this year, that's the place. I mean, go up the road to Seattle. If they release you, that is a spot where he can absolutely play every single game this year. I know the team sucks, and that's probably part of the reason why he doesn't want to do that. But if he's just looking to play, that is awful. Geno Smith and Drew Lock, Scotty, and they're going to have a long year.
Well, first of all, they don't want to pay him $24 million. Second of all, like the Rudolph thing, now, this afternoon they're saying that he's only making $3 million and they don't want to get rid of him.
Yeah.
They don't want to trade him. It's nothing. It's like a lunch bill for the Steelers, paying that quarterback $3 million to be on the roster. So word is out of Pittsburgh today that they're not going to move him, but I don't know what I believe anymore.
I think we just have to, at this point, wait until everything shakes out tomorrow at the cut deadline and see who goes where with the teams getting to 53. All right, Saints beat the Chargers. Winston played, looked pretty good for New Orleans, Scotty, so that's good going into the season. Raiders beat the Pats 23-6. I know it's preseason and people don't like hearing about it, but they're not thrilled up in New England. I mean, Mac Jones, he was awful. I mean, he threw an interception with like 6 guys sitting around a Patriot receiver. That's going to be a bigger problem for them than they thought, not having those 2 guys, Patricia and Judge, run the offense. It's going to be an issue for them this year in New England. All right, we mentioned that Brady was number 1 on this dopey list. Here's the top 10, Scotty. They do this every year. This NFL Network, top 100 players. Brady 1, Aaron Donald, Rodgers, Kupp, Jonathan Taylor, T.J. Watt, Devontae Adams, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Ramsey, and Travis Kelce. The top 10 players, according to people who think they know. They blame it on the players, the network. Everybody gets mad at the network. They tell them that their list sucks. They say that the players voted on it. Whatever. There you go.
Do you believe he's the number 1 player in the NFL?
No, I do not. I do not believe he's the number 1 player in the NFL. That's just that. Is he the number 1 player? If you took his entire career, that's still in the NFL right now? Oh, sure. He's got more accolades than anybody in the history of the entire game. But this year, is he the best player in the NFL? No, he's 45 years old. He's not the best player in the NFL. Come on. But
it's not even close.
And we are going to start this week, Scotty, getting into all of the lines for next week, week 1 in the NFL. But I will tell you, you dropped this note for me, and we'll start our week with this. The Browns have gone winless in 17 straight week 1 games. That's a current streak, and it's the most in NFL history going into this year. That's a long haul. Of course, they're in Carolina to face Baker Mayfield in week number 1.
I couldn't even believe that list. It was so amazing.
Yeah.
You should show it tomorrow. Like, Philadelphia's on that list. What are they, 8 or 9 in a row?
Well, that's all time.
Lost?
It was an all-time list. So that was an all-time week 1 streak. So those all weren't current going into this year. Those were the all-time longest streaks of losing in week 1.
Is the Browns current?
The Browns is current. That one is current. The other ones on the list were all-time. So that tells you how bad this stretch of week 1s has been for Cleveland, Scotty. The all-time longest week 1 winless streak.
And I got people in Cleveland arguing with me about how great the Browns franchise is.
You got to remember,
these people, they want to argue with me about the difference between Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and there is no comparison whatsoever. 6 Super Bowls, 8 Super Bowl appearances, and that's the end of the discussion. They've never been there in the Super Bowl era, not once. Stop. And it's amazing to me the amount of exposure they get. Every year we hear about the Browns like they're going to go to the Super Bowl. The Cleveland Browns, they've lost 17 straight openers. That's a bigger story than that they suck.
Well, you got to remember, they won all those NFL titles before World War II, Scotty. So we have to make sure that
anything before Christ doesn't count.
Anything before Super Bowl 1 doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. We only do the Super Bowl era going forward. All right, we have a lot of baseball to do. I'm going to start it now, and we'll continue it later on this hour. Dodgers beat the Marlins 8-1. They play again tonight, wraparound series in South Beach, Scotty. Let me just give you Mookie Betts' weekend. He had 2 home runs and a double on Friday night. He had a home run Saturday, the only run that they scored against Alcantara. And then he led off yesterday's game with this to get an 8-1 lead started on Peacock.
Mookie Betts, who's 5 out of 10, including a 2 home run game on Fridays. A drive here for Betts into center field and gone just over the wall. A leadoff home run for Mookie Betts. He continues to tattoo the baseball in this series.
I mean, that's crazy. I don't know what's crazier, that he did it or that they sat him down today when a guy's that hot.
Right. The guy's smoking hot. You take him out of the lineup today, but allegedly, according to the Dodger people, this was a day that Dave Roberts had circled a while ago that he was going to give Mookie the night off, was tonight. So even though he's swinging a hot stick, he's going to sit him down before they move on to New York, because they do play, I believe, the Mets they start a series with tomorrow, Scotty. So we get some Dodgers-Mets, I believe, at Citi Field. He'll be in the lineup then. We'll do the Yankee audio later. We'll start it now. Yankees lost 4-1 yesterday. They split the 4 games in Oakland. We mentioned it earlier. The embarrassing performance between Saturday and Sunday against 2 guys who had ERAs over 6. It's just like I said to you. They can't go out there and look like that against these awful teams on the West Coast, and that's precisely what they did, Scotty. Just a gutless performance.
I mean, I can't even begin to tell you what it does to me. I can't even watch it anymore. I can't watch them. And did you see, like, Rizzo falling down on his face, rounding first on that double? Like, they literally are like a comedy of errors. When they go out west, it's just not even them. It's like they should just forfeit the games and not even go. Just stay home in New York and, like, go get pedicures or something. Because every time they go out west, all they do is lose.
We'll hear from Boone later. He blamed the Shadows on Saturday. The Shadows.
Chapter.
Another thriller as well. Big Ben's final, we assume, regular season game in the black and gold on the road against an AFC North foe, and another fourth quarter comeback for the head man of the Pittsburgh Steelers and orchestrating that offense. The Steelers, Donnie, get a win in Baltimore, knocking off the Ravens in overtime, 16-13.
Yep, Steelers win another snooze fest here, but this is a division rivalry that dates back, a decade to 20 years where it's been incredible football. This game wasn't incredible, but still compelling to say the least here as it goes into overtime and converting third downs and fourth downs. Say what you want about the Pittsburgh Steelers, whose offense was in -1 gear per se because Ben Roethlisberger had 65 yards passing at the half, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Looked like the writing was on the wall that Big Ben, this will be your last game, and it's not going to be one of those swan songs where you go out where they lift you up on their shoulders and leave the field.
The Sports Grid Network. The early line.
Dallas beats the Philadelphia Eagles 51-26. Birds go backups. Dallas plays their starters into the fourth quarter. Dak Prescott ties the single-game record for passing touchdowns by a Cowboy quarterback and breaks the single-season record for passing touchdowns by a Cowboys quarterback. Throws 5 of them.
For the simple fact that the Dallas Cowboys had nothing to play for in this game and played their quarterback, not to, hey, we got, a nice little first half or a nice quarter and a half out of Dak Prescott. Let's get to the bench. Guy was playing well into the fourth quarter in this game, which was ridiculous. It served no purpose. And Mike McCarthy said, hey, we did exactly what we wanted to do. Well, you're lucky nobody actually really got injured in this football game, but that's not the point. The most valuable commodity in the NFL late in the season is rest. And you had a de facto bye week, and you decided not to take that. Let's see how that goes into it with the San Francisco 49ers.
Weekdays, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern on the Sports Grid Network.
Sports professor Rick Horrow inside the $1.3 trillion business of sports with your daily numbers game. Boy, I've got some numbers for you from the company that does the analysis of the top television shows from 2021. 100 shows, 95 sports, 75 of the top ones, NFL, including 11 Brady and the Bucks, 11 Tokyo Olympics, and then when you get down to it, the Final Four, the Kentucky Derby, there were other events, but nothing like sports as a classic appointment viewing. And to hit home, no Grammys, no Academy Awards. The only scripted show that broke into the top 100, The Equalizer. Well, it's a great show, but if you want sports rights and are willing to pay for it, you understand what they get. And now, with streaming, you get it in droves, and you get it on demand. Sports professor Rick Horrow, Daily Numbers Game.
I don't know if you saw that yesterday, Carver High, when Rory came roaring back to win the tour championship. You see his bag? He had @SportsGrid and @SportsGrid TV on the bag. The caddy had it on his hat. The balls were marked with the SportsGrid logo. You know, a lot of guys use a Sharpie to just put dots on the ball. Not Rory. He had SportsGrid and SportsGrid TV all over his golf balls. Unbelievable.
We will hopefully get to that later on, Scotty, but man, that was nice for me to end the PGA season with a winner. Having Rory at 9-1, I had thrown it away, obviously. I didn't think he had any chance. What a melt by Scheffler over really the last 27 holes to give that to Rory. Now, Rory made a ton of big putts, too, coming down the stretch, but Scheffler should have ran away with that tour championship. He really let Rory get back in. But I will take it gladly to end the season with the win. All right, I told you that I would give you Boone. Now, he was asked a question about if the Yankee offense fallen asleep because it's late in the season. He gives one of his typical mumbo-jumbo answers and then actually even throws in that the shadows, like the sunlight, was a problem because of the start time on Saturday. This guy loves excuses. Here's Aaron Boone.
We got to make sure we bring it every single day, and I don't think that was the issue. I think we just got shut down, unfortunately, here these last 23 hours. So
two guys with 6 ERAs
job there, but no, we got a division to try and win, and we need to put our best foot forward.
There's two starters that shut you down. Both had ERAs above 6. Did you think that it was those guys pitching well, or your guys not getting good bats, or a little both?
A little of both. I think that 6 o'clock start last night can be challenging, those first few innings, just from a shadow standpoint. I thought Martinez threw the ball well today. Like, he's got a good arm. You know, the sinker, slider, and that changeup we're playing today. But, you know, we should be able to put together more offense, and we got it. You know, if we're going to be, you know, the kind of team we expect to be, we got to do a better job there.
Enough.
You mean the team that never shows that you're that team anymore? You mean that team that used to be the team in the first 3 months of the season? That team's long gone. This is who you are now.
That team is long gone. Like, can you believe this guy sitting out there? For him to have the stones to bring up the Shadows on Saturday night. They had 1 hit on Saturday night, and he blames the Shadows because it was a 6 o'clock local start at the Ashtray. He's something else. They will never win with that manager.
Give him another extension. Give him another few
never
years
win with that manager.
Fail. Just let him keep losing, Al, you wussy.
Couple other things. Judge did hit his 49th. That was Friday night, dead center off of Sears. We rang the bell there. And in the next you can't make it up department for the Yankees, they had to put Aroldis Chapman on the IL after getting an infection on his leg from getting a tattoo, Scotty. Chapman, who sucks now anyway, maybe it's better that he got the tattoo because now he's not going to pitch. Can you make it up? Gets the infection from the tattoo on his leg.
Well, as you know, Carver High, you have a lot of tats. So does Mafia, and I refuse to have tats. And every time I drive by a tattoo shop, 34C has multiple tattoos, my wife, and I constantly say, you want to get a tattoo? Like, she's trying to get me to get a tattoo. It's just not happening because I don't want to get a staph infection. MRSA.
So the
Your
Yankees.
boy Chapman's got MRSA.
The Yankees will now head to Anaheim tonight for 3. Another place that's been an absolute house of horrors for them. We'll talk about that later on Coast to Coast. The Mariners, Scotty, take 3 out of 4 on Ichiro weekend up in Seattle from the Guards. Yesterday, it was Dylan Moore, our boy D. Moore, on Root Sports in Seattle. Give it to us, Soul Man.
2-2 to Demo. 2 outs, 2 on. Savali deals. Breaking ball. Swung on, driven deep to left. Quad running out of room. It's gone! Demo, Dylan Moore with a 3-run homer. The Mariners have the lead.
I got to tell you, Carver High, let's just be honest here. I had a big piece on them yesterday, and Robbie Ray, and that game was scoreless like in the 5th inning. And then he hit one more to left, and then I think France hit one and broke out of his skid. And then they got the job done. I had a really nice fat chunk on that game yesterday and hit it. I had another one, too, on the Brewers and hit that, too.
Another good performance from Robbie Ray for the Mariners yesterday against the Guards, that's for sure, as they continue to play well. The Cardinals beat the Braves 6-3 last night, Scotty. Now, Saturday night, they needed a big comeback against the Brave bullpen. Bases loaded walk in the 9th won it for them. Then last night, they victimized the Braves bullpen again. Tyler O'Neill with the 3-run homer on ESPN.
Drilled to center. Harris back some more. At the wall. O'Neill, a 3-run homer. And the Cardinals have the lead. They crushed it to dead center. 6-3.
So I had a huge bet on Saturday night on that 9th inning, 2-run walk-off win over the Braves. I hit that, and that was the Montgomery start. And then on Sunday, I had a huge bet on the under 8.5 runs, and it was no score with 2 outs in the 6th inning. And then they scored 9 runs the rest of the way. I was in bed, And 34C came in because I was so stressed out watching the game because I had a big bet on it. I said, I can't even take this anymore. I'm going to bed. I don't even care. I can't take it. I was going to have a heart attack. I was going to have the big one. And then I went to bed. She comes walking in the room and she said, hey, do you want to see the score of your baseball bet? And I go, yeah. She turns the game on and I see this guy rounding the bases. And I'm like, you think it's funny that I just lost a bunch of money? And then now I can't sleep. It's on you that you did this to me. You kept me up all night with amnesia or whatever the hell it is, insomnia. Kept me up all night. My wife turning on me on one of my bets, making fun of me when I lose money. I don't think it's funny.
Not funny at all. Also not funny for the Braves is that Acuna Jr. is always hurt. His knee's bothering him, Scotty. He didn't play Saturday and Sunday for Atlanta. He hopes to return tomorrow. Always hurt. Ronald Acuna
Always.
Jr. You could set the sundial to every couple of weeks.
Too bad they got all those other young players. They don't need him.
That's true. They won the World Series without him last year. He did not play when they won the World Series. So anything they get from him is a bonus pretty much. The Rockies beat the Mets and Max Scherzer 1-0 at Citi Field yesterday, Scotty. How about Herman Marquez, usually a gas can for the Rockies, throwing zeros on the board all day long? Somebody asked Buck, was there a little hangover from all the big Old Timers Day festivities on Saturday at the ballpark? Buck said, what are you talking about? That guy pitched great for Colorado. Here's Buck.
No, I think I've sensed their pitching real well. I really did. The want to was there. Sometimes trust me, these guys get a well-deserved day off tomorrow before a really good club comes in here, and there's another challenge around the corner. But there's an ebb and flow to even how you feel physically, emotionally, mentally in a baseball season. That's why people from football and basketball background have no idea what these guys go through every day. I mean, it's an everyday sport, and you are going to have ups and downs mentally and emotionally. You're not robotic, but I thought our guys today was more a product of their guys really being on top of their game.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it about Old Timers Day. Who cares? But how about this guy Scherzer? Didn't he strike out 11 and lost?
Yes.
1-0? You got to be kidding me. And that team and that pitcher, they couldn't score any runs off of Marquez. He gives up 6-7 runs a game.
Couldn't believe it. I was with you yesterday on the Mets. I had a couple of their guys for props who had some really good numbers against Marquez. Lindor, Vogelback, etc.
They were heavy
nobody
favorite.
Could hit him. Nobody could hit him yesterday. It's just the way that it goes. Good weekend for the White Sox, Scotty. If you thought there was any chance of them coming back and winning the Central, those thoughts were really hurt by getting swept at home by the Arizona Diamondbacks, of all teams. Jake McCarthy in the ninth inning yesterday on Bally Sports Arizona gave him the lead for good.
4 hits in the ball game last night. And he finds that gap. McCarthy dunks one into right center. Varsho will score. They will wave Rojas. Here's the throw, and Josh is out of there. But Jake McCarthy has done it again. An enormous 2-out RBI hit has made it 3-2 Diamondbacks in the ninth in Chicago.
So I had an in-game bet on the White Sox at plus $1.43, something like that. They were down 1-0. They took the lead 2-1, and they go into the ninth inning and lose that game 3-2. I mean, honestly, I think I may have swallowed my own hurl. I mean, I'm done with the White Sox. I am done.
Yeah.
Their season's over. Put a fork in them. They're finished. And I'm not betting on them ever again with, dollars. I might say I'll take them tonight. I'm never going to the window again the rest of this year and betting 1 penny on that crappy team. And they need to fire that old goat, Tony La Russa, too.
I don't blame you. Extremely disappointing season for the White Sox.
They got
Cherry
swept
on top
by the
getting
Diamondbacks.
Swept at home by the D-bags.
That's
Look
it.
out.
Your season's over. You're done.
The morning after.
Scott Frost in 4 seasons, just 6-17 against his divisional opponents. If they are going to win a Big Ten West title, if this is finally the year the offseason hype meets regular season results, it will happen through that division.
Ultimately, it's going to come down to beating teams like Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin, and I'm not quite there yet. We'll see how it unfolds, but Nebraska's struggled with all 3 of those programs.
The Sports Grid Network. Fantasy Sports Today.
Don't let James Robinson's presence in camp, no matter what reports tell you, put you off of Travis Etienne. Even if early it's slow to the uptake, stay the course, because I'm telling you, Travis Etienne's a better talent. He's the guy they invested heavy draft capital. They need that return, and that rapport with Trevor Lawrence is not to be overlooked. And that's a very important thing, especially for a young quarterback, to have guys in the offense he trusts. So we want to take advantage of people's negative perceptions.
The Sports Grid Network. The Early Line.
I think the Guardians are starting to command not just respect in terms of the Central race, but they really should be in the American League overall.
They probably figure, Kevin, let's just play 500 baseball the rest of the way. I don't think the Twins and the White Sox are good enough to put that into overdrive and overtake us at this point. So it's not one of those where, hey, look at our final schedule. We got 30 games left. We really need to go 20-10 to make the playoffs. They don't. Here you go. The Cleveland Guardians moving on in the playoffs.
Only on Sports Grid.
You might be the next daily fantasy millionaire. No matter what you watch or where you play, learn from the world's best DFS players. Lineup building tools, expert projections, and advanced stats change the way you play the game. Dominate the competition. DailyRoto.com, the player's choice.
Sports Grid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
They play less games.
The Early Line.
Taking to the top 4 seeds here in the Big Ten, they're going to play less.
Aaron Rodgers and
the morning
Russell
after.
Wilson. We saw movement in the marketplace like
Fantasy Sports Today.
Cleveland Cavaliers are a little thin as well.
Newswire.
Minus 160 favorite on the money line today for Arizona.
Ferrall coast to
CBG,
coast.
that's where they win cups. They win Stanley Cups over there. Give me the
Game
Penguins.
time decisions.
Kind of bizarre when you consider everybody is out for the Warriors.
In-game live all access.
I like Vandy against Bama. I think Vandy can win the game, take a 4.5.
In-game live, prime time.
The PGA champion.
In-game live, overtime.
All done before the final bet.
Get the winning edge. Only on Sports Grid.
All right, throwback on Coast to Coast. It's cool to have Corey Overtime Anderson on C2C today. Of course, from Bellator. He's getting ready for a huge rematch with the Bellator world champ Nemkov on November 18th. And he's training for that fight right now. He's fighting out of Jersey via Illinois. That's where he grew up as a kid. He's a badass now, though. I got to tell you, the first time you fought him, Corey, first of all, thanks for coming on, brother, man. You fought him the first time, and, like, you guys had, like, the skull headbutt city, right? Like, you guys smashed skulls, and that was it. They stopped the fight?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how I went. 3rd round, 3 seconds left. And, I was going to drop an elbow from the top, and he kicked my legs out. And with a lot of his, and Frank Triggs was saying, clean shot, keep going. But I let him know, like, no, it wasn't clean. It was my head. And then before you know it, the fight was stopped. And before you know it, the fight was over.
So what, at that moment, what kind of damage did you get in that spot? Were you, did it get a big gash, cut open, bleeding? What happened? I didn't see it.
I mean, I didn't have any damage. It was him. His whole right eyebrow or left eyebrow was split from where his nose meets the eyebrow all the way across. It was just cut open all the way down to his eyelids. So, yeah, they couldn't continue to fight anymore.
You seem as though you kind of like seeing them all banged up and cut up. Like, you probably would have finished him right then and there when you saw him having a problem. That's when you go for the throat, right? You see a guy's injured, you go for it and finish him. What was it like up till that point in those 3 rounds that you got a taste of this guy now that you're going to face him again for the belt?
I mean, the first round was a lot closer. Like, I could tell everybody, if anything, I would say he won the first round. He landed more shots. He was doing more. He was more active as I was. Part of my game plan was to weather the storm, play calm the first round, feel what he's going to do, and then take over the second, third, fourth. And second and third round, I just took him down and was mauling him on top and up until the headbutt. So it sucked the way it happened, but it is what it is. Like you said, most people would have gone for the kill when they see him bloody and hurting like that. But as for me, it was just me doing my job to make sure I was being a fair sport, I guess you can say. I was letting the ref know because he kept saying clean shot. I was informing him to let the judges know it wasn't clean. It was an accidental headbutt. And usually they let the judges know so they don't score that damage. I didn't know they were going to stop the fight from there, but it is what it is now. Now I just got to go back and do it over, but do it better.
Well, it is what it is. And how is the training going right now for that fight? Because obviously I've seen this guy and I've seen you fight. He's a badass. He's been getting all these accolades and everything. How are you doing getting ready for this second showdown with him with all that's at stake here in November?
I mean, I'm doing the same way I was doing it the first way. Just train hard, train smart, listen to my coaches, stay prepared. The biggest thing of it all is just to stay smart in training, to make it to the fight injury-free. Make it through the tournament injury-free was pretty much the whole goal when the tournament was announced. Like somebody once told me, it's not always the best fighter who wins in the end. It's the person who's going to be well prepared and the healthiest. So that's just been the goal throughout the whole tournament. Stay healthy, train hard, train smart, get there and dominate.
What has it been like for you? I want to talk about prior to going to Bellator in a minute, but when you're in Bellator, and I'm friends with Scott Coker, I think he's just incredible what he's pulled off with his business model. I think it's really cool that he has these Grand Prix tournaments. What's it like for you to come from the UFC to do these Grand Prix tournaments? I mean, I think they're really badass and cool. Have you enjoyed it? You fought some of the best fighters in the world in these tournaments. Do you like them, these style of tourneys?
I mean, for me, I love it because I'm coming from a wrestling background. So every weekend it was a tournament. Since I was a kid, since I was 22 years old, every weekend was a tournament. And the greatest thing about a tournament is, like usual in a normal platform of a fight, you fight somebody and you have to wait to see what the promotion says or what the fans say on who you should fight next. As for a tournament aspect, as soon as you get into the gym, like in college, high school, you go to the gym, you find the brackets, if I beat this guy, I fight this guy next. If I lose to this guy, I fight this guy next. As for this one, if you lose, you out. So it's like, I beat Yags, I move forward to Bader. I beat Bader, I'm going to get whoever's on the other side in the finals. And I always knew from the get-go it's either going to be Bader, or not Bader, Rumble or Nemkov. Rumble ended up getting hurt and something happened where he couldn't move on. So right then I knew I'd be facing Nemkov in the finals.
That's awesome. So you have beaten, and some of these guys have been on this show, Bader, Glover Teixeira, Johnny Walker, Manhoff, Yaksha Muradev, who you just beat, and Blachowicz. Those are some serious names I'm throwing out there that you've already beaten. It's got to be pretty gratifying, something, at this point what you've accomplished, and you got a long way to go. You're about to fight for a belt. What do you think of the people you've cut through already?
I mean, it's very satisfying, like you said. The biggest thing for me is I just ran into a buddy of mine I started training before I had my first fight. We actually debuted together on the same night. And he fought on the night. He'd already fought. But he told me then, he's like, bro, I'm telling you right now, before you fight, before you even get big, I'm letting you be the best in the world. Like, I've seen you train. I watched you train since the beginning. Like, everything you do is what some of the top tier guys don't do and can't do or won't do, and you will do it. You're going to be great. And I seen him a couple weeks ago reffing a fight, and he said, like, bro, I always told you from the beginning. Like, I knew how good you were. And now, like you said, you throw off that list of people I fought. 2 of those guys are the UFC champs, the last 2 UFC champs. other guys are Bellator champs. It's like I beat those guys, and it just makes you think like everything the people have said that have believed in me the whole way up. You know, sometimes people say things you're like, oh, they just saying it because they know me. But now you're at the point now you look back and you can say those people really meant it when they said it. They saw something that I didn't see or that I didn't know yet. And to make it there is very fulfilling to know you are as good as people say. And now that you believe it, you're as good as you believe. You just go out there and keep proving it. So it's
Yeah,
more
you got the
more
confidence. You know, your boy Frankie Edgar is a friend of mine going way back. What was it like working with Edgar and Penn, BJ, in that Ultimate Fighter where you pretty much, if you know, I'm not crazy to say, you got made. I mean, that pretty much put you on the map. Everybody's like, who's this crazy mother Ferrall out here fighting? And it really made a name for yourself. Did that do a lot for you, confidence-wise? Coming from wrestling and everything, all of a sudden you get on this show. Next thing you know, you're winning it. Like, what was that like?
I mean, I did everything for me because without that, I wouldn't be here. Without that, I wouldn't be Corey. I wouldn't have the style I have because I remember when the first fight to get in the house, and Mark Henry he loved everything about me, my cardio, the fact I listened, and I was a wrestler. And I took those three things and started working with Frankie and Mark Henry and Ricardo Almeida, Steve Rivera, Nick Catone, all the people he had trained with at that point up until the Ultimate Fighter. And I train with those guys now, but it's all from the Ultimate Fighter. And now it's like they created and molded, I guess you can say like a bigger Frankie Edgar in a way. I'm bigger, but I learned how to move like Frankie and study Frankie's style. And that just became something big guys weren't used to at 205 especially. So I can do what Frankie does, but at my size. And like I said, just the fact that he picked me and to work with him, without all that stuff in the Ultimate Fighter, I wouldn't be who I am in the first place.
You know, I'm about your size. I'm 6'4", 215, and you're big boy. Number one now at light heavyweight, ranked in the world. That's badass. What did Ben Askren? So is he the guy that actually spotted you wrestling and said, yo, bro, you got to come over here and make some money?
Yeah, something like that, but it wasn't in those words. He was my coach at Whitewater, and the way I wrestled, I boxed. I broke my leg early in college. I started doing boxing workouts to get my footwork for wrestling and movement, and I would wrestle like I boxed. I was always bouncing on my toes, head moving. Somebody go to reach to grab me, like ducking, bobbing, weaving. And I don't know what it is in my style that he saw, but he came to me and was like, bro, I think you could be really good at MMA. This was early in the season. He just said something in passing. And then later on, when we was training for wrestling and I finished second in the country and I thought he was going to help me with the Junior Olympic trials and whatnot. He asked me to come to his other gym, which happened to be Rufus Sport. And when I got there, he said it like, bro, welcome to a new sport. I mean, I hate to tell. I know you don't want to fight. You said you didn't want to fight. But just from the way you wrestle and the way you move, I think you can be really good at this sport. I think if you tried it, you'll like it. I didn't try it the first day. I came back the next day and tried it, and that was it. Haven't done any wrestling since.
Well, you know, I got a lot of friends that have wrestled. I got a buddy that I played ball with that won 3 straight state championships in New Jersey as a wrestler. Best rebounder I ever played with in basketball. But I got to ask you, I ask this all the time of him, the strength in your lower body, your hips. What was it like to be that powerful, low to the ground, and getting on guys and finishing them? Then all of a sudden, you got dudes kicking you in the face and punching you in the face like you're out in the streets. That's no joke, going from, you know, powerful tactics on the ground as a wrestler to actually having dudes kick you and light you up. What was that like for you? Was it like shocking, or were you like, all right, this is serious?
No, it was definitely shocking. The boxing aspect wasn't a problem. I had 2 amateur boxing fights while I was in college. I was used to the punches. But my first sparring session was against Anthony Pettis. So they had him throwing leg kicks at me so I can get used to them. And I remember walking across my dad's yard. My dad got this huge yard, 7 acres. And I remember walking across the yard the first day from parking at his warehouse to the house and limping the whole. It took me probably like 15 minutes just to get from the garage, the shop to the house, which is not even 100 yards. My legs were so much, I couldn't walk. I was like gimping, dragging a leg, take a break, rub them out, gimping, walk a leg just to get home. And I just remember to this day, Like, that was probably one of the worst pains I had, I would say, in this game, because it was new to me. It was something I had never felt before. And I just remember being so sore. And I was sore like that for probably like 2 weeks before it finally went away.
That is brutal. What was your favorite fight? Like, even at the UFC, was it Blachowicz that you kicked his ass? Was it Glover? These are big names, and you just took them out. What was your favorite?
I think my favorite one was Glover Teixeira, because the reason being, his style was contradicting to my style. My style of winning all the time was wrestling. But most guys didn't have they had good jiu-jitsu, but they didn't have great jiu-jitsu. As for Glover, is known for his jiu-jitsu. He's known for finishing people on the ground. So right before we walked out, and I just remember thinking, like, I want to take this guy down. Well, he's way better at jiu-jitsu than me. But the fact that I still went out there and implemented my plan with wrestling, but using my striking and level changes up and down to mix it up to where he could never really time my entry and get a submission locked up, and to go out there and dominate the way I did on a week and a half notice. On top of that, that was probably the icing on the cake for my career.
Well, listen, dude, I think it's great what you've accomplished. You've been on a hell of a tear. I'm glad you went to Bellator and got that money. I hope you're happy. I know you're having fun kicking people in the face and winning. Good luck against Nemkov. It's great hanging out with you, getting to know you a little bit. Knock him dead in that fight. No headbutts. Just finish him off this time. Become a world champ. We'll get you back on C2C. Thanks, brother. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Your heart's racing. The clock's running out. It all comes down to this. We're talking pregame. Pregame. Get locked in with Game Time Decisions. Your hosts, Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart, will get you ready for game time. Everything you need to know before a game goes off the board, with the bet slips to back it up. Make your best bet with live odds updates, late breaking news, up-to-the-minute injury reports, and real-time analytics from inside the sportsbooks. All the odds, all the action, from sports wagering insiders and industry pros like Donnie Rightside, Gam Liu, Cousin Sal, the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chow, and more. Get the winning edge every weekday afternoon from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, 3 to 4 Pacific. It's Game Time Decisions. Only on Sports Grid. The early line.
There's too many question marks for me, DRS. The talent drop-off that he is dealing with from those dogs over at Clemson and what OU is going to have on the defensive side of the football is quite a bit. Donnie, since when is OU not just filling out, right? At least first team all offense. That's just not the way this group lines up here. Too many question marks for me year one. The schedule's too easy to go under the 8.5.
Only on Sports Grid. The morning after.
Where do you rank the Nets in the Eastern Conference? Are they a top 3 team, a top 5 team? Are they the favorites in your mind?
I think Boston's better than them. I think Philadelphia's going to be a resurgent team. Look for them to be better. And listen, folks, they don't have an easy start. New Orleans, Toronto, Memphis, Milwaukee, Dallas to begin the season. There's too many unknowns with this team. I think you go under 52.5 for the Nets.
The Sports Grid Network. Ferrall, coast to coast.
I think both the Braves and the Mets are playoff teams. They are 2 of the top 3 best teams in the National League, and quite frankly, neither of them are going to get the bye. The bye is going to the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are by far, not kind of the best team in baseball, by far a wide variety and margin the best team in Major League Baseball. They're going to get the bye, so one way or the other, the Mets are going to be in a situation that they're going to have to grind through all of October, as are the Braves.
The Sports Grid Network.
If you want to pick like a pro, you need to be in the know. The future of sports gaming is now, and we take you inside the lines, breaking down all the action and what it means for your bet slip. Turn down the game and tune into Sports Grid Radio. Other networks talk sports talk, but we walk the walk, right up to the window. Sports Grid Radio. Listen free on the Sports Grid Radio app, iHeart, or TuneIn, or catch us on Sirius XM Sports Grid Channel 159.
It's time for another exciting edition of Today in Carver High History.
Yes, it is. Let's start today in 1968. Billie Jean King wins the first match of the U.S. Open tennis era. 1969. Joe Pepitone quits the Yankees after being fined $500 for leaving the bench. Your boy Joe. 72. Giants pitcher Jim Barr retires the first 20 batters he faces after retiring the last 21 he faced 6 days earlier. 41 batters in a row. Mark Burley would break that 37 years later. 1972, Bobby Mercer hits for the cycle. 1977, Lou Brock passes Ty Cobb's 49-year-old career stolen base record at 893. We love old highlights on C2C.
Reisleben looks. He's going. The pitch is high. The throw is safe. He stole it. The throw got by the shortstop, and Brock has done it. They would have thrown him out, but the shortstop couldn't handle the bad throw. And this is it, folks. Brock has now stolen 893.
That's cool, right?
Of course, later on, Ricky Henderson would break that mark, Scotty. 1978 USTA National Tennis Center opens in Flushing Meadows. 1982, George Brett gets his 1,500th hit. In 93, he would steal a base to make him only the third player in history with 3,000 hits, 300 homers, and 200 steals. 2004, Andre Ward of the U.S. wins the light heavyweight boxing gold medal in Athens. 2007, Richard Jewell, the vindicated security guard from the 96 Olympic Park bombing, dies at 44. 2009, Ronaldo makes his debut for Real Madrid, scoring on a penalty. 2010, for the first time ever, walk-off home run is subject to a video review. McCann's home run bounces back on the field. They called it a double. All right, 2012, USDA claims to have stripped Lance Armstrong of his 7 Tour de France titles. Good. 2018, Christian Yelich hits for the cycle, going 6 for 6, and tonight he's going to hit a homer against the Pirates at plus 400. 2018, Aaron Rodgers signs a contract extension with the Packers worth $180 million. There you go.